Welcome to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? Today, we are talking about breaking through or burning out from all or nothing thinking. I'm really excited to share with you just some strategies in this conversation today to overcome the all or nothing thinking, especially when it comes to navigating our life. So thank you for joining. If you've been with me for a while, thank you. And hi, I like to think that, we're having coffee together, just ripping through some of these ideas and concepts. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. My objective truly is to change what you have been taught and have likely believed about yourself, about what's possible, what you're able to achieve in your life. And here's what I believe about you. I believe that what you think is real is most likely not. I believe that the ways that you desire to achieve, you 100% have the capacity to. I believe that joy and love and miracles are your God-given natural state of being. And anytime you feel far from that, the way back is much simpler than you've been led to believe. So if you're new, welcome. I love you here. And again, hello to my people that listen to me. So I want to dive in to this conversation. Like most of the things, the topics that I have a conversation around on the podcast, they're things that have been happening either a lot of times in my life and a lot of times in my client's life. And I think for a lot of the type A personalities, such as myself, we tend to think in all or nothing. And it shows up all over in our life. And like with anything else that we teach on this podcast, awareness of where it shows up is key. So for me, it shows up in our self-perception, right? For me, it looks like I didn't get an A. I failed. Even though there are many other letters, friends, between A and F. For me, if I couldn't run 6 miles, I wouldn't run any. Even though, friends, there are a lot of miles in between 0 and 6. It looked like for me either eating 100% clean or 100% not. It looked like me judging my body, my kindness, my smarts in comparison to other people. We typically judge in extremes of either I love it or I hate it with ourselves, right? We either love that part of us or we hate that part of us. There's no there's no gray. And I think this all or nothing mentality exacerbates the perfectionistic tendencies and the people-pleasing tendencies, all in an effort to be perfectly pleasing, right? And if you get that, you understand what I'm talking about, right? You probably navigated a lot of perfectionism in your life. You probably navigated that people-pleasing aspect of you. And I also want you to consider that it's because of this all or nothing thinking that tends to lead us into being perfect and pleasing. Okay. It also impacts our motivation and our self-defeating behaviors. If I can't finish it, I won't start it. Okay. We make excuses that if we can't do it 100%, right? I didn't get up on time, so I won't do my workout. I don't have time to clean and organize my entire closet, so I won't do any of it, right? And that turns into I don't do anything at all, right? Whereas if I got up late, there's an opportunity for me to still do a workout. It might not be the workout that I thought, but it's still a workout. And even though I don't think I have time to do my entire closet, can I do a drawer, right? And we get so confined by time in that all or nothing. We also tend to use all or nothing thinking to catastrophize and overgeneralize, right? We stay stuck in the emotion and feel entitled by how wrong we feel. We proclaim things like, this is just our luck, or nothing ever goes right, or it always goes like this for me. Well, that's just how it goes for us, is what people will say. Well, Leah, that's just how it goes. And I say, no, I don't know. How does it always go? Right? Where else I see it is we tend to live in always and never land. Okay. This always happens to me, or they never do it right. To which I say then, never, ever have they done it right. Never, ever have they asked you how your day was, right? Because when we have this mentality, it truly does limit our ability to see the exceptions that exist. And if you are anticipating that it's never going to improve, it never will, right? And if I can, I might offer also that never and always are just words that we really should remove entirely from our language with our teams, from our language with our children, and especially with our language with ourselves. They're very shaming, they're very unmotivating, and we speak them out into the world, right? This will never work for me. I've never been able to fill in the blank. They always do this wrong, okay? Because those are the limitations that you speak out into the world. And remember, what you speak out into the world will be reflected in the reality of what actually comes to it. So I wanted just to kind of bring those, that awareness to where all or nothing shows up in our life. Because a lot of us think, yeah, we think in all or nothing, but I don't think we really see what and how it looks. And so the first part, again, of this conversation is just the conversation around why it's important that we understand where we are so that I can give you now some strategies to break free. So the first strategy that I want to bring to you was my strategy when I had this all or nothing thinking a couple weeks ago. But it's kind of a two-punch solve, if you will, for all or nothing. And it's perseverance and patience. Okay. We have all had an experience where we are really excited about a goal, or even maybe starting a new habit. Okay. We're committed, right? We're all in for a few weeks anyway. And then we fall off the wagon. And here's the great news, right? First, there's no wagon, just your brain doing what healthy brains do, okay? And because of that, this feeling like we just fell off the wagon, we feel like we're just constantly restarting and not making the progress that we would like to make in our life. And I talk a lot about the brain on the podcast. And I usually invite you all, when I do, right, that if there are concepts that I teach in this podcast that resonate with you and you feel as if, right, you could use some support to develop new skills, some new strategies, I want to invite you to our membership. Okay. In our membership, we take what we're learning here and we 10x your life with it, right? Because knowledge doesn't change anything. It's the integration piece that is so important. There is a science to success, and understanding the brain is part of that science. This motivational triad that I speak of, in its most simplistic terms, is that the brain seeks pleasure, avoids pain, and conserves energy. And if we let this part of the brain run the show, we will not have the success we want. And when this happens, we tend to judge ourselves and blame ourselves for this. Not required, okay? No amount, as I mentioned before, of shaming and judging is going to get rid of this part of ourselves. We're always going to have to manage the delicate balance between the primitive brain that cares about short-term pleasure, right? To minimize pain and to reduce the energy that is required, and the prefrontal part of the brain that understands that foregoing some pleasure and enduring some pain and spending some energy can create our best life in the long run, right? Even though it will feel the opposite of what we want in the short run. And what I have found in coaching thousands of people, navigating this balance requires compassion, not shame. It requires you to let go of perfectionism. It requires that you let go of pride and shame. It requires that you be patient, that you can celebrate baby steps. It also requires so many things that are overall really good for us. And in order to balance those two parts of the brain and achieve what it is that we really want, we have to develop those attributes. So this attribute of perseverance, as I mentioned, is important if we are going to solve for all or nothing, right? We want to have the long view. We want to know our why and stay committed to the why. We want to be inspired and energized by the why, right? And we need to be patient. We need to not be in a rush. Because if I'm in a rush, if I'm impatient with it, if I need to solve this right away, it means that I'm not doing the work of becoming what it is that I ultimately think I'm going to have once I achieve the goal. That means I'm not doing the work along the way. I'm believing that I have to wait to change something more significant in myself or my world before I can have what I want, right? And what I want is probably a feeling, right? It could be the feeling of peace or a feeling of joy or a feeling of happiness or a feeling of confidence, okay? And all of these feelings that we want to have are available for us right now. And as we try to take action and change things in the world, we want to access those feelings. Okay, are you with me? So that's the best way to change it. And the good news is that it means that you get the reward of feeling how you want to feel before you even get to the finish line. So anytime I'm in a rush and I'm impatient, right, I stop and go, wait a second here. This hurry that I'm in is because I'm believing once I get to this certain spot, then it will be better there. And I want to feel better. That's the only reason why we're impatient, is because we're not happy or joyful or whatever it is that we want to feel now. And we think getting there is going to be better. It's not any better there. So I just get to pause and remind myself, I can feel better right now. And that is my work to do, because it's also, friends, the way to get there. Okay? So that's the first thing. I want you to tap into the power, your two superpowers. It's like a two-punch power: perseverance and patience. The second strategy in really breaking free and through from all or nothing thinking is baby steps. Okay, I know you don't want to hear this, right? Because type A personalities, the all or nothing personalities, they want what they want right now. Okay, they don't want baby steps because they think baby steps is going to limit the speed with which they get there, which I will remind you, go to point strategy 1. Okay, baby steps, not huge, over promising, under delivering steps. Okay, Again, I know you don't want to hear this, okay? I call them minimum baseline steps. We tend to over deliver and under promise as business strategies. And we do it for everyone else. But what do we do to ourselves? The exact opposite. We tell ourselves, that's it. I'm never eating chips again. I'm never going to Target and buy something that I don't need again. I'm going to start working out 5 days a week. I'm going to start getting up super early in the morning. I'm going to start going to bed an hour earlier. Okay. And it sounds so reasonable, right? Some of the overpromises we give ourselves. But most of the time it's not. Okay. How do we know what's reasonable when it comes to changing a habit? Well, you look at where you are and you ask yourself, what would be a baby step forward? Can you take a baby step and then under promise and over deliver to yourself? You can always do more than you said you were going to do. But when we do less, when we don't follow through on our commitments to ourselves, we do just as much, if not more damage. Okay, because now we've lost trust in ourselves. Now we don't feel like we believe that we are capable of doing what we say we're going to do because we've shown ourselves that we don't. Baby steps and celebration are so important with your relationship. What can you decide to do in your life that you know that you can commit to no matter what? No matter what. And then you celebrate the baby step win. Baby step wins will look like progress. And more importantly than that, baby step wins will remind you that you are capable. And it will help you restore your relationship with yourself because you now become the person that does what they say they're going to do. Okay? So perseverance and patience, baby steps, celebrating. Okay. The third strategy that I want to offer you today, as we again break free from this all or nothing thinking, is asking and reframing. Okay. It's so important in your personal development to learn to shift, to learn to turn negative events into some form of positive progress. That thing happens, whatever it is. Your heart gets broken, the employee quits, the investment doesn't pay off, fill in the blank. Can you reframe that situation into progress? In your effort to do so, I promise you, that is how positive habits get installed. That's the stuff of resilience. That's the stuff of captaining your own ship, where you are learning to embrace the difficulties of life, but you're still choosing the next step. What I know from working with super high performers is that they are able to pivot. They are able to shift and be resilient through difficulties because they discern and discover that they can be better. And they want to attain a higher level of proficiency and a higher level of potential for themselves, to prove it to themselves, to manifest the best of who they are. And that is a healthy, adaptive measure. Now, there's a small caveat here, okay? I know some people will use this negative event, okay, and move it into something positive, but as a way to get back, like a revenge strategy. And I'll show them kindly, right, that this kind of mentality, okay, if it's inspired by bitterness, it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick. When change is desired in an effort to prove somebody wrong in order to prove you right, you'll do it with a chip on your shoulder. You will. And it will never bring you the joy that you thought it would. When we do it in bitterness, it will be hard to sustain for two reasons. First, because you're doing it with the wrong energy. You're doing it with the wrong fuel. You are doing it angry, and that is hard to sustain. And then we tend to overdo. We go too far. We go to the extremes, and we go all in our effort, right? And to both feel better, one, and to prove people wrong. And this just doesn't work. We forget that we have to reverse the order, right? We have to feel better first, effort second, okay? And bitterness will always leaving you feeling like you have to be justified, and you'll be judgmental, and you will disconnect from yourself. At some point in time, you get to choose how you want to feel. Do you want to feel bitter, angry, or do you want to feel better, happy, energized? The reframe is so important to this all or nothing. So let me ask you, when negative events occur, how do you reframe? How do you learn to drop the anger? Did you learn to drop the bitterness? Or do you guide yourself into an authentic way of being and find your authentic self in all of it? Or do we build a reactionary life to prove yourself and to do it for more approval from other people? Because here's what I know for sure. We are either navigating in anger, or we are identifying points of progress. And I think that if you can take that hurt and that anger and you can drop it, and you can forgive it, and you can attach your heart to that phenomenal person, you, that deserves a phenomenal life, and that every single day is an opportunity to do the basics, the baby steps. Every single day, there is that opportunity. There is that opportunity to shift out of all or nothing thinking in a way that you persevere, in a way that you bring patience to it, in a way that you celebrate the baby steps within it, and an opportunity for you to reframe whatever negative thing happened into an opportunity for progress, for growth, for an expansion of the most incredible person you are, is a gift. It's a gift. It's an opportunity that I hope that you will choose for you and your life, and the ripple effect that you'll have on the world will be incredible. So I hope you have a most amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you on the show. Have an awesome one, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrowling.com.